يعني محل تثمين واعتزاز من قبلنا بصراحه.
الله يخليك حيدر.
الله يحفظكم. حقيقه دوركم في دعم الجامعه وفي الكثير من المحافل حقيقه رائع جدا. فبصراحه انا احب انتهز الفرصه انه لا حقيقه دكتور انتهز الفرصه اقدم لك شكري وامتناني باسمي وباسم الجامعه كلها حقيقه.
الله يخليك تسلم.
الله يحفظكم. الله يحفظكم. يعني احنا اولا طلبتك اللي بالجامعه الحمد لله مراعين ومتميزين، وبعدين بتواصلهم مع جنابك والخدمات اللي قدمتوا لناها اخرها كان بعض المؤتمرات وخصوصا موضوع النشر المشترك. هذا كانت يعني خطوه جدا مهمه بصراحه بالنسبه لنا.
وان شاء الله الخطوه الجايه اريد ادعم المجله.
نعم ان شاء الله. يعني انا دكتور حسن عدنان الحقيقه انا متواصل وياه وهو ما شاء الله عليه رائع جدا، يعني تواصله ويا جنابك
خوش قدره علميه.
نعم. فبصراحه جهودك ودعمك لمجله الجامعه هذا شيء كبير جدا احنا نعتز به.
فاحب اقدم لك على بالي دكتور حيدر، يعني صدق
نعم
اريد ادعم المجله ان شاء الله بشكل جيد، اللي اتجاه انه ان شاء الله تروح على سكوبوس
ان شاء الله. راح يكون عندنا تواصل مباشر مع جنابك باذن الله
ان شاء الله.
انا اشكرك وكل اذان صاغيه لهذه المحاضره المهمه.
ممنون من عندك. تسلم.
الله يحفظك. مع السلامه.
شكرا جزيلا سيد المساعد العلمي المحترم. حقيقة يشرفنا ويسعدنا في شعبة البحث والتطوير التابعة لمكتب السيد المساعد العلمي في رئاسة الجامعة التكنولوجية أن نستضيف الأستاذ الدكتور حسين القيم من جامعة بتروناس في ماليزيا للمرة الثانية، حقيقة ليقدم لنا خدماته الجليلة كأستاذ زائر في محاضراتنا سلسلة محاضرات الأستاذ الزائر. أسعدنا تواجدك بروف حسين. شكرا جزيلا لتلبيتك الدعوة ولهذه المحاضرة القيمة. أترك الفضاء لحضرتك. شكرا جزيلا.
Okay, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I prefer if started in English if you allow me. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your participation on your listening to my talk. And this talk, in fact, something not just only presentation. I prefer we make it as discussion. So we will elongate the question and answer and the discussion session. We exchange the information between your good self and me on the publication of articles in reputable journals. As a matter of truth, we are, or your students or your good self can produce good results from our research work, but the issue how to sell the result to the audience or to the editor or to the reviewer to get it placed within the body of the knowledge in a good journal. So I hope that this presentation, which we are going to share, will assist us to improve our skills on the good article or good paper writing. I am familiar to you, and you know that I am graduated from University of Baghdad. In fact, from University of Technology, at that time it's College of Applied Engineering under University of Baghdad. So originally I am from University of Technology. And I secured my PhD from my University of Bradford in 1989. Then I worked as a lecturer and head of department for many years in Iraq, more than 11 years. And in 2006, I joined University Technology Petronas in Malaysia, and until now, I am still with them. In the publication world, thanks God that I managed to publish technical articles, more than 330 now, and the index in Scopus, more than 280 papers or articles. And the Web of Science, more than 100 papers. And the total reviews for Elsevier, more than 400 or even more than 500 papers as a reviewer. And the total books that I managed to publish so far are 6, and hopefully within the next 3 or 4 months, I am going to add another 2 books to my list of publications. We go to the talk. And those are the objective, why we are doing this talk or presentation on the article writing. The first objective is to deliberate on the journal articles. What are the journal articles? And then to familiarize the participant with the norms and terms and condition of articles or good article writing, how to produce good article from already obtained data or results or argument, research argument. As a conclusion from those, we are going to climb one step by improving our article writing skills, inshallah. Let me start with this question. Why should I accept your paper? First, if I am an editor or I am a reviewer. So there are 2 stages, in fact, when you submit a paper or article to a journal. First, the editor makes the preliminary decision. Then, shall he pass the paper for referees or not? Let us see what he is looking for as an editor to pass your article for a review. When your paper reach the reviewer, what do you expect the reviewer looking for in your paper to review your paper and not reject it? So let me say, if you are an editor, and one day you are going to be editor, if you are not editor now, what do you think 3 things come to your mind to accept a paper or article submitted by scholar and you pass it for referee? So I give you 1 minute to think. You have received an article and you are an editor. You reject it or move it to the referees. Take it seriously and think that you are editor. What are the reasons that you are rejecting the paper? What are the reasons that you are accepting the paper and pass it to referees? Okay, next. All of us are reviewing papers. We are invited from journals, from editors, from colleagues to review our papers in our specialization. So if you can write or bring to your mind 3 reasons for not rejecting a paper. When you put those questions and answers, then when you write the paper, you remember, oh my God, I should take care of this so my paper will not be rejected by the editor. Oh my God, I have to consider all those points, then I hope that the reviewer accepts my paper. So this is why I put it in this way. when you put yourself in the shoes of the editor or in the shoes of the reviewer, then you will know the practice of accepting or rejecting a paper. For an editor to proceed the paper to the reviewer, he look for the subject of the paper, whether it has seen over the years in the journal and what he feel. What does the editor feel? Sorry, this is for the editor. The editor looks state of the art because he wants to increase the citation of his journal. So if your subject is saturated or old, the reviewer, the editor immediately reject the paper. Then always look for something new. And always we put the question mark of the novelty. The novelty is something very important to accept or reject a paper, and whether it is significant or enhance the knowledge in the field. And the paper or the article should not be derivative. I mean, not extracted from previous works and redone. It should be something new, novel, and significant to the body of knowledge. There is something about the mood of the editor. There is a common agreement that whether to pass a paper or article to the referees for a peer review is partly determined not by hard and fast rules. Sometimes it depends on the editor's own feeling and experience. So don't surprise. Sometimes you submit a very good work, a very good piece of paper, and the editor rejected because this is what he feels that the paper will benefit to the journal or not benefit. So try to do something, convince him that your paper will be beneficial for the indexing and the citation. When you write the article, always remember that the first gate is the editor. Convince the editor, then the chance of the acceptance is high. If you cannot convince the editor, the chance of acceptance is low. Then always remember those 4 points, please. State of the art, something new and novel and significant to the field of study and not creative material. Now let us go to the reviewer. Let us say the editor convinced and he agreed to pass our paper to the reviewers. What the reviewer? For a reviewer to reject or proceed with the review, the first thing he is looking for is something original, not passed for him before. He hasn't seen something like this before. So he always looking for something new. And your article show explosive growth of the new technology or existing technology with a new line of analysis, a new line of research, extended size of the variables, and so on. Then there is not repeatability in the article. Partial repeatability is accepted, but there should be something new added to the article. And there should be no hints of plagiarism. This is the current issue now, and similarity check becomes very hard and tough, and be careful. Try always to manipulate even the review or the literature. When you write the literature, even you are citing, you know that the similarity check is done by algorithm, and the algorithm don't have a mind or heart. So what the algorithm do, he give indication that this paragraph similarity to another publication. Then try to manipulate and be smart enough when you write the literature or the introduction part. And avoid 100% to utilize results published by somebody else. The system nowadays capture this. I have a case last week. My student Tadamun from University of Tikrit emailed me that one of our papers has been stolen by Indian authors. When I checked, yes, all the result part has been stolen. They changed the introduction, they changed the title, they changed the methodology, then the result part. And I sent tough email to the journal, tough email to the institute, and immediately they withdraw the paper from the site. And this is related to the reputation of the institute and the authors. So please take care of this issue. It is a big issue now. The plagiarism or fabrication and the research argument. This is the first thing, the original. If the original, paper original, the work is original, the results are original, the reviewer will be happy and look into your paper. He will read. Now he will look into if the paper is connected to prior work, because it should be continuation in the field, and clearly presented. Meaning that a good title, good abstract, and thorough literature. Good highlight of the setback in the previous works, and good formulation of the problem statement. Your problem statement should be technical or economical or social problem statement mentioned by the previous people, and you are going to solve part of this problem. And also good English language and structure of the paper, and easy to understand, and there should be good justification of the results. Without good presentation and justification of the result, the reviewer will reject your paper. If you just says, well, the Reynolds number increase, the pressure reduce, and so on, we will not accept your paper. We will reject it as reviewer. Justify why, when Reynolds number increase, the other variable reduce. Give me a reason, then I accept. If you don't give me a reason, I reject your paper. Then justification is very important. From this conclusion, I can say that the indicators for a proper article, when you prepare your article, put those into your mind. Novelty and originality. Language. When you structure the paragraphs or the sentence, avoid very long sentence, and always full stop and start something new when you talk. Not continue the same sentence with many, many ideas or many, many issues you want to discuss. And the tenses are very important. The use of the verbs, past, present, future. I will show you some fast pass through on the tenses. And the attracting title. Summarize the theme and the keywords of the article, and attracting abstract, the abstract of the full story in very short words. All your paper, 10,000 words, you should put them in 250 words. Then be smart enough how to reduce 10,000 to 250. I will assist you in this. We will come to this later. And the formatting and structure of the article body. Don't put some results in the discussion of the methodology. Don't repeat the literature or cite a lot of authors in the results and the methodology. No, don't do that. Don't mix. Each part of the article I will show you has its own personality. So the formatting is very important also, and the insight. And this is what I mean, that you are do something deep when you discuss or when you do the analysis. Let us start when you decide or plan your research. When you plan your research, think about the insight variables or parameters you are going to study. Think about the insight analysis of those variables. Think about the insight presentation and discussion of those issues when you present them in the paper. So the insight meaning deep, not shallow. Don't round about, go to the center. And your conclusion should be citable, because all of us, when we read a paper, what we do, we go to the conclusion and we look, is the conclusion consists something new? I can add it to my literature. Think about this, about your conclusion this way, that you add something or highlight something new that the people can cite it. So those are main issues or indicators for the proper article when you write the article. Okay, very fast pass through the language. We have a present, we have past, we have future. In the present, there are two types of tenses, present simple and present perfect. In the present simple, we are using the is and are and I am and we. Or you are using a present verb. I give you an example. We are using the present simple when we are talking about a known fact, something not changeable, proved and exist. So when you talk about well-established scientific fact, correlation, theory, or numbers, use the present simple. I give you an example. Baghdad is the capital of Iraq. Is there anybody say no? Nobody can say no, because Baghdad is a fact as a capital of Iraq. We are academicians. Yes, that's true. We are holding high degrees, and we are working on certificates, and we are working in universities. Then we are academicians. This is true. Oh, sorry, I am not aware that you are sick. So I'm talking about myself, and you have been sick, but I tell you the truth that I am not aware. Or we are using a verb. Ali writes now, present, ongoing. Ali writes a paper for his department. Good for you, Ali. So something ongoing, we are using the verb with S. And when we talk about the present perfect, like has and have, or have been, has been, this is used when you have a common experience or usual case in research field, or well-established fact in the field of research. For example, many studies have shown that blah, blah, blah. Or many investigations have demonstrated that the pressure is a drop with, or you can say the influence of temperature has been investigated, only the temperature. If you want to say the influence of temperature and the pressure and the flow have been investigated. So those are something assist you when you write in the future, and I hope to utilize it properly. In the past, type of tenses is past simple and past perfect. In the past simple, we use past verb. I can say Sinan et al. In 2018 performed the investigation of blah, blah. Authors mention that. So this is something has been done in the past and stop. It's happened one time and that's it. So this is specific, like something done in the research and not repeated. We use past verb. Also used for current study or investigation. When you are talking about your measurement in your article, you use the past because you have done the measurement or the simulation in the past. And you can use past simple, easy. Past perfect, when you have already have experience before the current incidents or many current research. When you have two reference confirm a fact, you can use the past perfect. So you can say Bilawal had previously found that in the past, Bilawal had found this value or this knowledge. Or you can say in respect to S-rotor, it had been shown by another research reported by. So you have two researchers. You have Bilawal and you have Kawi. Those two, you can use past perfect, not simple, when you have more than one author or one reference. And so on. And in the future, when you are planning for something for the future, we will use will and may or shall and so on. So in the future simple, used for event to be completed in the future. Like when you say, she will write paper for her classes next semester. You are specific, it's gonna be in the next semester, not floating. If you say, she will write paper, it is not specific. But when you say next semester, you specify the time. Then you use will or may or shall. But if you not specify the future, you can say she will have written many papers for her class by end of semester. When in the semester, we don't know when in the semester. This is future perfect. Or incident that will start and will end in the future, not started yet, or not started in the past. If it started in the past, on continue, you should use would, might, should. If it is started last year and ongoing and not finished, it continue in the future, then we use would, might, should, something like this. But it is going to start in the future and end in the future. So we use more data will be acquired. And somebody is going, will ask, will have. All of those are going to happen in the future, not happened yet, and so on. So this is very fast, and you can make use of this table when you write in the future. Now we come to the manuscript submit to a journal. What is the manuscript? We have two types of manuscripts or articles submitted to a journal for publication. Either review or outlook paper or research article come from research work. The review paper is accumulation of literature, but in a way, not in historical review. I will show you. And the research paper based on findings. In fact, there is no rule of thumb. Each article has its own personality, how you structure the article, what you want to put in the article. But the main element should exist. Now the question, what are the main elements of review paper or main element of research paper? There are common share of the procedure when you write an article, mainly for Elsevier, which has the largest database. So when you write the article, even later, if you want to convert it to another format, but write the article as one column, 12 times in your Roman, spacing 1.5 line, and put all the figures and tables centered, not aligned to the left or right. Always set the margin top, all the sides, top, bottom, right, and left to 25 millimeter. And avoid illustration of figures or table outside the margin. This will make a problem later on in the production of the accepted article. And I prefer that you check the guide to author for your referencing style, because each journal or each publisher, they have their own referencing style. I am used to put all of them in the first draft, then I delete the unwanted one. Also, I will show you how. So this is the starting when you write a paper. Put those and don't confuse. When you start with those simple things, then your article will grow step by step and crystallize step by step. Of course, there are some journals instruct you to put the article in their own format, then you have to adapt the format and follow exactly what they want. But in general, those are the practice to start writing a manuscript. Right. You started to write. And the first thing you write is the title. You are going to select a title for your paper or article. When you write the article, remember those. The article should be linked to the objective, to the keywords, to the abstract, to the conclusion. In fact, all those fives are interlinked together. In the title, you should have at least 3 words repeated in the abstract, repeated in the objective, included in the keyword, and repeated in the conclusion. Least 2 words, but I prefer to be 3 or 4 words appear in the title and repeated in the objective, repeated in the abstract, repeated in the conclusion. Meaning that you are focused. You have selected the theme and you focus on your writing on the theme. Because you cannot write a paper with many themes. The paper consists of 1 theme or 1 research line. Don't mix, it's confusing. So the best that when you write the title, select many titles, then you decide one of them. Anyhow, please remember 2 or 3 or 4 words appear in all those parts of the paper. In the title, in the abstract, in the keyword, in the objective, in the conclusion. The main element, now we have a question previously, what are the elements of the articles? And we agreed that we have maybe a research article or maybe a review or outlook article. For the research article, it should consist of title, name of authors and their affiliation, abstract, keywords, introduction, method or problem formulation, and the solution procedure, measurement, simulation, whatever. Then result and discussion. Some journals prefer that you have separate section for the results, then you add another section or subheading for the discussion. Then you conclude and you show the reference. In the review or Outlook article, you have title and the names and affiliation and list of content of the paper. The الفهرست, list of content, then abstract, then keyword, then introduction. Then you come to the body of the article. Each review paper depends on what is the theme. You subdivide into sections, subsections, and subjects. So it depends on what you are including in your review paper, what is consisting. And this part, the body, it's around 80% of the paper. And then you conclude. Don't think that because it is a review paper that you are not going to conclude. You have to put your own idea. When you write a review paper, you will have some comparison and some conclusion, and you will come for consistency or misagreement, consistent, non-consistent between the authors of previous works. Put this in the conclusion. What you found from this review or Outlook article, then the references. And in both of them, whether you have review or research article, you need to add abbreviations, the funding source, acknowledgement, and conflict of interest. This is a separate file. And the statement of author contribution. Each author, what has he done in the paper? What is this part? So those are the elements of the research and review papers. I go through each one of them in detail. When you write a review article, prepare a separate file. This file consists those. This will assist you later when you submit the article. Title of the paper, name of authors, and their emails, affiliation, and ORCID codes. Prepare this list. Table of content, word count. You can get it from the editor of Microsoft. So you have to know the word count they are asking because they have limitation, not more, not less. And statement of conflict of interest and fund resource, acknowledgement paragraph, prepare it, and author contribution, and list of reviewers. Put at least 5 reviewers with their emails, with their department, with their institute and country. And then they will ask you why you selected those. So include this in the list of the reviewers. So this is the page title. It is necessary you put it in a separate file or folder. We come to the abstract of the review paper. Brief summary of this review theme. What you are intending to review in this paper. When we are talking about car engine, what do you want to review about the car engine in terms of research? The fuel technology, the material, the cooling, the heating, what is it? Orientation of the cylinders. And so you can write a brief summary in the abstract about what is the theme of this article. Always the editor and the reviewer will come back to you and how you distinguish between the previous review article and your review. Then you should be smart enough that you give your review article something new, has not been reviewed before. And then in the abstract, you add what are the focus points in this review article, what you are looking for, what do you want to highlight. In terms of language, use present and past tenses and no citation in the abstract, never cite. And it should be around 200, 250 words. The introduction of the review article must accomplish two things. Remember, introduce your topic and define the theme, the terms which are not common to the reader. Anything, when you are, I mentioned about the car engine, for example, you should describe the car engine and how it's works. What are the parameters included in the car engine? Put this in the introduction. Start with something to describe to the reader what are the abbreviations you are going to use, what you want to address in this review article. And the topic relevancy and addressing the importance and uniqueness. This article has not been, or this theme has not been reviewed before. Nobody compared between the previously published papers. So the uniqueness of your review paper guided to the acceptance. If there's no uniqueness of your review paper, it will not be accepted. Then in the introduction, the last paragraph in the introduction consists the theme of the article and the objectives. What are the objectives? What do you want to do in this article? Just show something, historical presentation, discussion of the inconsistency, whatever. So you have to put objective of the article. What do you want to show in this article or outlook paper? And usually this represents about 10 to 15% of the total article. And use the present tense when you write the introduction. Now, the material of the title. You have the title. What are the material to be included in this review paper? Don't present your idea here in the material. Review paper is not summary of literature. Remember that. The review or outlook paper is not summary of literature. It is not like your thesis and you extract from the thesis. Even in the thesis, we are asking for a critical review. Remember this, that the examiners will ask for a critical review. Meaning that when you review, it is not copy-paste of the abstract or the conclusion of the previous. No. You should understand the previous work and extract from them their ideas and their comment and put them in the review. Not just show pure summary of your readings and introduce analysis, interpretation, comparison. It is very important that you compare your tables, figures to compare between the previous works and their numbers, their findings, their ideas, their conclusions. And stay focused on the theme. Always remember, you have decided this theme, focus on this theme. Carry on, use this theme. And organize your points. Don't mix. When you discuss some engineering problem or engineering review, don't mix. In the subtitle, you are talking about many things. In each subtitle, be focused and concentrate on only one thing. And use present, simple past on present perfect. And this part of the review, not research. This review paper, 70 to 80% of the paper come here in this section. The conclusion must consist of key connection between your main points of the review. You have reviewed and you have selected some abbreviations, and we agreed that there are 2 or 3 or 4 words. Now here you address the the main issues of those selected words or abbreviations. The significance of your article compared to previous reviews. In the conclusion, show the reviewer or the editor that your paper or your review differ than the previous ones. And since it is a review article, never include new findings from your research. Don't put in the conclusion. You can put in the discussion, in the section 4, materials of the paper. In the materials, you can add part of your results from your 6 or 7 or 10 students work under your supervision and you have a lot of contribution, you can add it, but not in the conclusion. Never mention yourself. Don't be selfish. Otherwise, you will lose the acceptance. And use present, and better don't cite here. Only if you are comparing between different correlations, for example, and you found that correlation of Mr. X better than Mr. Y, you can say that in the conclusion. And this represents about 5% of the total article. And you add acknowledgement to the people who assisted you and funded you, and the references. And the referencing, as I told you, depend on the journal guide. You have to look into the guide of the journal and you follow the guide of the journal. This is an advice here, a tip. The reviewers are very sensitive to the people who are citing themselves many times. Unless you are the pioneer of the theme. If you are not the pioneer, you are a researcher following previous works and you do extension of the research, please don't cite yourself a lot. Twice time is okay. If you have 100 references, you can put 3 or 4 references from your works, no more, because the reviewer don't like this. Now we come to the research article. If there is no question, we continue. Okay, the title of the research article, make your title specific enough to describe the content of the paper, but not technical that only a specialist will understand. No, make it a little bit more between, very specific between general. So the people who are not specialists in the solar energy can understand my title. People working on energy or people under chemical engineering. I should put my title so that they understand what I want to say about my paper. So it should be very, very specific. The title should be appropriate for the intended audience. You want to present to whom? Politician? You want to present to academician, to researchers, to social people, to the government? Then also be smart enough when you want to establish your title. The title usually describes the subject matter of the article. For example, effect of smoking on academic performance. This is a selected title. But it will be better if you rephrase and make the title show the result. So instead of you say effect of smoking on academic performance, you better say students who smoke get lower grades. Then you included the effectiveness of the smoking. Effect of smoking on academic performance of students. But it is better if you put what happened for those smokers, students. Students who smoke get lower grades. So try to manipulate. I give you those examples. Title not more than 15 main words. When you write the title, try to shorten as much as possible. Don't go more than 14 or 15 main words. People said the title is the paper. Your title, tell the paper. What do you think about those three titles? Have a look to the first, second, and third. And tell me which one you prefer. Or tell yourself. Logically, the nano paint or the black nano paint improve the performance. Then it is better if don't make it as a question mark. Is it going to improve or not improve? No, I select title number 2 because there is enhancement. An investigation on the nano paint enhancement. There's improvement on the solar thermal system. Then this is a result, and this is logic result. So don't make it floating. Try to show the logic. Same as before. Students who are smoking get lower grade. Adding of nano paint enhance the performance. So better if make the title floating, an investigation on the influence. I don't know what's the goal to the performance when I paint nano, black nano paint. Don't make it as a question whether the reader will ask, is it enhancing or not enhancing? Tell him from the beginning that there is enhancement. So the second one, because it's including logic results, it is better. This is the title of research article. Authors, you know. Again, according to the guide, you select how to write the names. The person who did the work and wrote the paper is generally listed as the first author of the research paper. I tell you what I mean by the work, not necessarily the writing. Other people who made substantial contribution to the work are also listed as co-authors. And ask your mentor permission before including his or her in your co-author list. Must get permission by email, by message, by WhatsApp, something documented. Something documented to avoid any problem in the future. So all the authors should agree to mention their names in the paper. And all affiliation must be clear. All should be handled by the corresponding author. This is his responsibility. And when I mention the work, the first author, unless he agree that somebody else can be the main author. But the one who did the simulation, the one who did the experimental measurement, the one who designed and established the system, he deserves to be the main author. This is why we said the work is the simulation, experiment, field data collection, mathematical modeling, and the programming. He deserves to be the first Not necessarily the corresponding author be the first. Corresponding author may be second, third, fourth. So this is one of the right of the main contributor, unless there is agreement between the main author or the one who did the work with the others to mention the first name. The abstract. An abstract is giving the reader a preview about what is this article about. Then it is the gate. If you open the gate by the abstract, the reviewer will move forward and the reader will move forward. An abstract is giving the reader a preview of what to come. So he opened the door and go. It allows other scientists to quickly scan the large scientific literature and decide which article they want to read in depth. Then your abstract may encourage the scientist, the student, the researcher to go or to stop, to include your paper or not to include your paper in the literature. The abstract should be a little less technical, not include all the technical part in the abstract. You don't want to dissuade your potential audience from reading your paper. So make it attractive. Don't give everything, but give something. Don't give everything. Give something that push the reader to go forward in your article. It is not easy to include 10,000 words in a few words. It is very difficult, I tell you. But start writing a summary that includes whatever you want, think is important to put in the abstract. Even you write 500 words, don't worry. Write the abstract and then crystallize and revise and talk with the other authors until you agree for attractive abstract. So it is not easy to bring 10,000 words to 250 or 200 words. But don't worry, write, then you crystallize. You cannot write it from the beginning perfectly. Abstract, what should the abstract conclude? Very short problem statement. Solar thermal system generally having low efficiency. This is a problem. This is technical problem. This is enough. Don't go into details. And after that, the objective. The objective of this paper or the aim of this paper or this paper will discuss. Then you present the problem statement in 1 or 1.5 line, then the objective or objectives, then how you solved. How you solve experimentally, numerically, mathematically, statistical, site visit. Mention the scope and the variables. When I talk about method of solution or scope, meaning the solution procedure and analysis procedure, what is it? Mainly in the engineering, we have experimental, numerical, mathematical. And then mention the parameters has been involved in the analysis. What have you included in your analysis? Mention them here. And it is good if you state the range of them. Reynolds number from 2. Kirchhoff from 2. And then mention the cream or the main result, your achievement in this work. and add small recommendation, not small recommendation for a future work. No, recommendation for a future work in the conclusion. But this recommendation to the industry, to the government, to the researcher, to the society. So add recommendation because your article or the result of the article deserve to be adopted in the industry, in the implementation of projects, in the common research. And use present and past tense, no citations in the abstract, minimal abbreviations or symbols. Use only the common, like CFD, PV, test, thermal energy storage. But don't use your own abbreviation. You can use the very common abbreviation 2 or 3 times. And it is preferable without abbreviation or symbols. And always remember that abstract is 1 paragraph, around 100, 200, 250 words. The introduction. In the introduction, remember to put research question. Because all what you are going to after this is to answer this research question. Even in your mind, not necessarily you put it as writing, but put it on a piece of paper beside you. What is the research question? And always, all what you write in the methodology, in the result, in the discussion, in the conclusion, to answer the research question. If you don't want to write it clear in the introduction, put it on a piece of paper and put it beside you and keep it under your eye. And write and write and write, but remember what is your research question? Then describe the subject matter as a process or phenomena. For example, if you want to talk about fuel injection, describe within 2 or 3 lines, what is the fuel injection? Or drying. What is the drying process? Define. The reviewer will ask you, identify the process which you are studying and make it clear to the readers. Then you need 2 to 4 lines to describe, even more if you like, to describe the technology or the process which you are investigating. Now, what is the aim of the literature here in the introduction? The aim of the literature is to permit the leader to understand why you were interested in the question you asked. You have a question, I said, research question. When you list the literature and put something like show your interest. Why it's interesting? Because somebody said that, the other body said another issue, and this guy don't agree with them. Then let me say X et al. 2016 does not agree with all of them, and he come in with a new methodology. So make it something attractive. Show the discrepancy, not the misagreement between the researcher and the literature. And the introduction must be structured to address the technical or financial or social gap. Now you are doing a research in a certain issue. Why you do the research? Because nobody has done it before. Or somebody has done it, but limited variables or limited range of the variables. You extend it. So identify the gap, whether it is technical gap or financial gap or techno-social. identify a gap, and from this gap, you will be happy that you are going to add something to the body of knowledge by contribute to this gap. The last paragraph, separated paragraph, in the introduction, present the problem statement, objective, and the scope. 3 issues, 3 things, put all of them together in 5 to 7 lines. After you identify the gap, repeat. The literature demonstrated that, blah, blah, blah. This is the problem statement. And this paper is going to solve the problem by numerical technique, and we will present the results. So 3 issues, problem statement, objective, and how you are going, or what are the variables is going to be included in this work, the scope. The variables mean the scope. All of those in one single para, the last para in the introduction. And here's an advice. Don't make your paper look like final year project or thesis. Never add subtitle to write problem statement or objective. No. No subtitle for any one of those. They should be part of the introduction, the last part of the introduction. And this represents about 15 to 25% of the total article. And use the present and past tenses. 3 to 4 para are enough, plus the problem objective paragraph, the one which I talk about now. So altogether, about 4 paragraphs. Subdivide the introduction to about 4, maximum 5 paragraphs. Materials and method. Now, how do you answer the research question? Are you going to answer the research question experimentally, mathematically? You go to the field, you prepare a questionnaire, programming. So how you are going to answer, you should show here in the material and method. There should be enough information. Listen to me carefully. Write your material and method and your simulation or your experiment or whatever it is, so that the other people can adopt your technique. If you make it in this way, it will be cited and the people will be happy to use your paper to carry on their work. They will follow you. They will adopt your idea. So when you write about your technique, explain in detail about the experiment, the simulation, the mathematical analysis, the programming. Explain. Let the other researchers or the other people can follow the same procedure. If you have complicated protocol, you cannot describe, for example, the flow chart or the flow of the research. Use a flow chart or use diagram here. And use figures and explain in the figures, label the figures, each part of the figure. Make details, as I told you, so the other people cannot put question and be ambiguous on how you did this. Make it clear with detail so the others can follow. And as I told you, when you have something complex, use a flowchart or figure. And in the material and method section, do not put results and no literature. You can mention some references or authors, but not in terms of literature. So in this section, you can include preliminary results, for example, that were used to design the main experiment. When you design, you have done programming or simulation, then you can put a small paragraph for the modeling and simulation to design, but no results in the material and method. The results in the results. And this around 30 to 40%, and use the present, simple past, present perfect tenses. The results section. Let me put it this way, sorry. This is where you present the finding. Use graphs and tables to present your finding or your argument. But discuss those tables and your figures as paragraphs and text. And always the discussion of each paragraph or table come before the paragraph or the table. So you can cite it and show the table or paragraph after the text or the discussion. Do not discuss the result or speculate as to why something happened, because this part should be in the discussion. Now, here I want to mention an issue. Some journals asking for separate result presentation than discussion. Some journals accept the results and discussion in one paragraph. So when you present the results separately, don't discuss and justify, only show the results. Then you have another section or subheading, the discussion. You can justify and you can compare and you can do whatever you like. It is much easier when you have results and discussion. When you have results and discussion, you don't have this headache. And most of us, we are following this. We merge the result and the discussion in one paragraph, in one subheading, and we present our result and discussion together. This is something for the honesty. Do not manipulate the data, but you can eliminate the noise, because some data, when you have the measuring instrumentation, for example, or you go to a power plant and you will get results, but you see some data is shooting up and down. Those data considered as a noise, you can eliminate them. But sorry, but not to smooth your data and change the values, which are changing the facts of the process. You have a process. You are charging the fluid with nanoparticle with this concentration and this flow rate. And this is what's happened inside the pipe or the instrument. You measure the variables. Please, what you get presented. Don't change the results. Don't manipulate. Whatever you get, because later you can justify why. You can say it is measuring instrumentation problem, a human error. But not manipulate the result with changing the facts or the behavior of the variable. You can present your result in graphical or table format. Don't duplicate. Don't present the result in both of them, in graphical form and tabulation form. One of them. Reviewers don't like this. And use present, simple past, present perfect in this section. And this section consists of 30 to 40% of the article. Here my note and tip. In many cases, you can merge the result with the discussion section. We talk about this. And my tip, avoid as much as possible to illustrate figures one after one without discussion. Always between the figures, discuss inside the figure, discuss inside the table. It is not preferable that you list 3 or 4 figures one after one and you have shortage in the discussion of them. Avoid this. the discussion. As I told you, some journals prefer separate section for the discussion. Some journals allow discussion and result presentation. So here you highlight the most significant results, but don't just repeat what you've written in the previous section, in the results section. And how do these results relate to the original research question, which you put beside yourself or at the beginning in the introduction? Here we link our achievement or our results or our finding with our research question. And do the data separate your hypothesis? Sorry, support your hypothesis. I mean the question you put and the hypothesis. After the question, you may expect this is going to happen. After you did the research and you got the result, it's happened in what you expected or against what you expected. Then here, support. Discuss why the hypothesis had not been met, why the hypothesis has been met, and you achieve the hypothesis. And also discuss why your results consistent with what investigators have previously reported in the literature. If it is consistent, that's good. If it is not consistent, better. But you need to justify why they are not in the same line of the previous works. Which one is wrong? There may be no wrong, but you should be smart enough and look why this discrepancies, why you are not consistent with the others. The easy that you're consistent, the difficult inconsistent, then you have to look why. Maybe your range of research is larger than them, then out of their range, the process differ, changing, or the method of the measurement, or the method of analysis. They did simulation and you did experiment. When you compare with them, there is a difference. We believe in the experiment much more than the simulation. So many issues, but you have to justify why you agree or disagree with their findings. If your results are unexpected, try to explain why. I mentioned this. And if you use the new method of a topic, or you extended the range of variables, or you use the new materials. Many people use certain type, X type of nano, you use another type, X22 nano. Then you can justify, compare and justify your finding from the new procedure, new material, new technique, new fluid, new particles. Compare with the others and compare. And this around 30 to 50%, and use present, simple past, and present perfect. Still in the discussion. Is there another way to interpret your results? What further research would be necessary? Okay. You did the work using old machine, and you use, let me say, old measuring techniques. Then you may say here that there is a need or necessary for further research to be complement to this work, to confirm the facts or to confirm the discrepancy, the misagreement. And this will show how your results fit into the big picture of the field or the topic of the research. That's good. And with a one sentence, of course, you have many subsection in the discussion and the result. At the end of each subsection, after you discuss 2 or 3 figures for one variable, for the pressure, end your paragraph with one sentence summary of your discussion of each subsection. After you finish the discussion, and like something like conclusion of this section only, conclusion of section 4.2, conclusion of section, but without subheading. Just add a sentence, one sentence, a small sentence, summary of the discussion of those 2 or 3 or 4 figures, or this variable. And this around 30 to 50, when you merge with the result, it will be better. And use present simple, I mentioned this. Yeah, I mentioned this as well. Conclusion must consist of key connection between your main points of research. Don't repeat the scope, no need. Significance of your article compared to the previous literature. And since it is a review, if it is a review article, never include a new finding from your research. I mentioned this. But here, you have to make it in a way that can be cited. Show something result. Show the new, the real finding. The core of this research should be in the abstract and in the conclusion. Then the people can say, you have recommended this, or you have found this, and you contributed by this way. Use the present. Better don't cite, no citation, unless there is, as I told you, there is correlations related to people, and you found this correlation and that correlation, you can cite. And this is about 5 of the total percentage of the article. Acknowledgement, and this is optional, in fact. Even many journals request you to add acknowledgement, mainly to the funding source. You have to add the funding source. You can thank those who either helped with the experiment or made contribution to the work in terms of discussing the result and the procedure, commenting on. You sit with that person and this person, and he assists you how to present, how to do, what to do. And those can be acknowledged in this section. And don't forget to express your thankful remark to your university or ministry or anybody supported you financially or emotionally or logistically or technically. You have to mention all those people in the work. The references or the literature citation. In fact, there are different styles, depend on the journal. So my advice that you better write the guide to authors by the journal or the publisher, and you follow the style. Some style using only number in bracket, some using name and number in bracket, some using name and year. What I am doing when I am writing the first draft, I put all of them and save it as general. Then if the journal want any one of them, I just delete the others. So when I write, for example, Abdul Wahab et al., 2016, number 4. If the journal wants only the number, I delete those. Or they want only the name and the number, I delete the date, and so on. So this is my style. I write all the styles of references, then I reduce. My last slide, you know that no one of us is a British or American or English speaker. So we do a lot of mistakes, all of us. Those are some advices for terms to be avoided and terms to be used. So instead of using prior to, use before. Due to the fact that, use because, and so on. Put this list on a table or piece of paper, put it beside you, and revise your paper after you finish, and try to change from those abbreviation on the left to the words in the right. In English, it is better to use as less as possible, as short as possible of sentence. So avoid using those on the left. Instead of them, use the ones on the right. I hope I have done it within the time. If I exceeded or less than the time, then accept my apology.
شكرا جزيلا بروف حسين، شكرا جزيلا لهذه المحاضرة القيمة. حقيقة إن شاء الله طلبتنا استفادوا من عندها، طلبة الدراسات العليا بإذن الله. الكثير تواصلوا معي حتى يحصلون على يعني المحاضرة. أنا طلبت من عندهم أنه يتابعون اليوتيوب شانل الخاصة بشعبة البحث والتطوير. إن شاء الله خلال الليلة سيتم رفع محاضرتك على اليوتيوب، فبإمكانهم إن شاء الله الاطلاع عليها متى ما أرادوا، وبإمكان أيضا مشاركتها لمن يحبون. راح أفتح المجال للاستفسارات، لكن اعذرونا إذا كان المجال المفتوح سوف يكون قصير، لأنه حتى ما نثقل على الحضور، وخصوصا على ضيفنا الأستاذ الدكتور حسين القيم، خصوصا أنه فرق التوقيت 5 ساعات ونراعي هذا الشيء مع حضرتكم. فبالإمكان رفع اليد حتى يتم السماح بالكلام لمن يرغب بإذن الله. دكتور، حقيقة أنا كان كلش يعني مفيد هذا اللي آخر التيبل اللي خصوصا استخدام المختصرات، هذا جدا مفيد، وأيضا يخدم أيضا الجزء اللي خاص بالريفريزنج الليتريتشر. يكون كلش مفيد هذا، أنه استخدام الاختزالات. أنا أتمنى حضرتك تطلع على التعليقات، راح تشوف الثناء لحضرتك. يعني ما شاء الله الجميع كلش ممتن.
شلون أقدر أروح للشات؟
اكو لي جوات، اكو كلمة شات، إذا تضغط عليها راح يطلع عندك اللستة كلها اللي كل الحضور يطلعون بيهم. احنا تجاوزنا تقريبا 95 مشترك.
ممنون. أتمنى أنه فعلا فادتكم المحاضرة، والحقيقة اللي طرقنا إلى بالكلام عن الارتيكلز أو الجورنال بيبرز كثير ينطبق على الثيسز رايتنج والريبورتس، لأنه هي البيبر extracted from the thesis writing. كثير من الأمور اللي شرحتها هنا، يعني الابستراكت تقريبا نفس الستايل مال الابستراكت مال الارتيكل. فدول اللي راح يكتبون thesis أتمنى أنه يراجعون المحاضرة ويشوفون كثير من الأمور تنطبق على الارتيكل وتنطبق على الثيسز.
نعم، أتفق وياك دكتور، نتفق إن شاء الله. إحنا في نهاية محاضرتنا لهذا اليوم نوجه لك الشكر الجزيل أستاذنا الفاضل والكبير بروف حسين القيم. نشكرك لهذه المساهمة الفعالة بإذن الله على دفع وتطوير طريقة الكتابة لطلبة الجامعة التكنولوجية ولمن حضر معنا أيضا لهذا اليوم. جزيل الشكر لحضرتك وممتنين، وتصبح على ألف خير، وإن شاء الله نلتقيك في محاضرات أخرى بإذن الله متى ما يسمح لك الوقت. نشكرك الشكر الجزيل دكتورنا الفاضل.
أنا سروري أنه أكون بخدمة الجامعة وخدمتكم، وكل اللي أقدر عليه أسويه، واحتمال إذا الله خلانا طيبين أسوي وركشوب على البيبر رايتنج حتى نسوي هاند أون سبوت، يعني ورا ما بعدين نتفاهم أنا وياك على هذا الموضوع.
باذن الله حاضر.
نسوي ورك شوب مثل ما اسويها باليو تي بي. فالطلاب اذا عندهم درافت مال بيبر او اذا عندهم ريزلتس نقدر ننضجها خلال 3 ايام 4 ايام ورك شوب بحيث يسوون سبمشن تو ا جورنال اون سبوت. هذا اللي نسويه احنا بالتكنولوجيا.
نعم.
العفو باليو تي بي.
نعم. احنا عندنا راشد يحب يتداخل مع حضرتك. تفضل راشد، بامكانك الان الكلام. تسمعني راشد؟ استاذ راشد بامكانك الكلام، فقط لازم تسوي انميوت حتى تتكلم. ما أعرف، الظاهر عندنا فد مشكلة معينة. تمام دكتورنا العزيز، نختم بإذن الله. شكرا جزيلا لحضرتك، ويا رب يدوم التوفيق. وإذا تشوف التعليقات ما شاء الله الحمد لله أثرت الأثر الطيب. شكرا جزيلا لحضرتك دكتور، وتصبح على ألف خير. نلتقيكم بإذن الله في محاضرة قادمة ضمن سلسلة محاضرات الأستاذ الزائر، فكونوا معنا بإذن الله. شكرا جزيلا لكل من حضر. شكرا جزيلا لحضراتكم. في أمان الله.
الله يعطيكم. مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.